All right, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do today's assignment, which is our value study, is your Post-it that I drew, a pencil, and your flower. You're not going to be using your flower drawing because, as we've discussed, a value study is a study of the values of your drawing. It is not done on your final drawing. It is usually done on a rough draft, or if you have lost the Post-it that I gave you, you can do it on your thumbnail sketch, even if your thumbnail sketch isn't perfectly accurate. One of the reasons why I did your Post-it in pen or Sharpie was so that when you're going over it in pencil, you can erase without erasing the lines of it. So that's one of the reasons why I told you to keep that Post-it someplace safe, because I knew we'd be using it later. So the first thing you are going to do is set up your flower so that you have good value. Now, I am lucky in the setup that I have right now that I've got an individual light. You guys are going to be sharing a light with the members of your table. So one of the things you're going to notice, and I'm going to move the iPad so you can see this, if I set my flower up somewhere directly underneath the light, so if the light is shining straight down on it, see how I don't really get good shadows? I get a couple of little cast shadows from some of the parts, but all the petals are pretty much one color. You do not want a value drawing like that. You want it to be kind of at an angle. You want some cast shadows, you want some lights, some mediums, some darks. So one of the things you may have to do, whoa, look here, is use the objects at your table to kind of set things up so that you don't have to hold your flower. Now, once you get your setup done so that you like it, so that it's set up in a way that you have your flower that you like, take a picture of it using your device, or kind of make notes on exactly how you did it so that you can do it every day. We're working on value with our portraits. So if I take this, maybe that, maybe not, maybe I just use it like this. So you can use any of the objects at your table, any of the things that are set up for your table. I kind of like that. If I can get it to, so I kind of like it at that angle. So I'm going to set up everything else so that I can get that. And I also you don't want too much of the shadow of the viewfinder on your objects. You may need to pick your object up a little bit more so that you get rid of that. Ooh, that's really nice. If I can get it to stay. Once you get it to stay, ooh, there we go. All right, once you get it to stay, and there is a little playing involved, so that might take you a few minutes, that's okay. Take a picture of it, get it set up so that you can see it. And then you're going to grab your Post-it and your pencil. So on your Post-it, you're going to look at your object. First, set up your Post-it in the same way your object is. So I'm setting it up. And then I'm going to look and I'm going to find where is it light, where is it dark. So I'm going to start with the center petal. And I'm going to look and I see that because the petal is bent, there's this little shadow over here. So I'm going to start shading that in. So I'm going to press harder with the pencil where I want it light, or where I want it dark, and lighter when it's light. And I'm going to make it fade. Now this guy comes here, and I can erase here. And it kind of comes right up the center of the flower, and it slowly gets lighter. Anywhere where your object is, anywhere where your drawing is eventually going to be, you need to have shadowing. So I'm going to start with some of the darker spots. You want to look at the shapes of the shadows. Some people find, I find that I just start coloring them in. Some people find it a little easier to go in and say draw, so there's a really dark there, there's a really dark there, and then once they've drawn all those shadows, then they go in to shade them in. So you want the darkest darks, you want the mediums. Now don't just take an area and make it dark. So even though this whole area of the flower right here is mostly dark, see how it gets darker in this spot right here, and it's a little lighter up here, and there's even a light spot down here. So you want to make sure that you're not just shading everything in super dark. You want to get all those mediums. So see how on my Post-it, I'm going to set them next to each other. You can start to see that I'm getting some lights, I'm getting some mediums, I'm getting some medium lights. It's a little lighter here, and it's a little darker here. And I'm leaving some of the lighter areas, so it's light here, but there's a dark shadow here, and then this is a light. So use how hard you're pressing on that pencil to really get those shadows. Now, I'm just scribbling in to get that value. So I'm just scribbling where it's light and scribbling where it's dark. And that's fine to kind of scribble that in. So there's the shadow going on. Oop, that's the, oop, I gotta get rid of that. All right, that's not that dark. So you can go in and erase and make things lighter. Make sure that you're looking at things relative to each other. Now, right in this section here, it's very light, so I'm just going to press a little bit with the pencil, just enough to see that it's light. And then I'm going to go up and into this shape here. So you want to look closely at your shapes, get all of those little shadows, get your darks really super dark where it's dark, get those medium darks and those lighter darks everywhere in. So you're really looking closely at your values and getting it as accurate as possible, because this is going to help you when we move on to coloring in our final. So go work on your value studies.